What makes it possible for a balloon to be blown up is its elasticity. But a balloon, once it's been blown up and stretched out, is also susceptible to being popped. Our egos are similar to balloons. They're also very elastic. And if we have enough pride, we can be puffed up. And once we have been successful in puffing ourselves up, we too become susceptible to dangers of being popped. Any sharp word of criticism or any prickly situation, or when the long knives of anger and betrayal come out in our relationships, we get popped and taken down. But that doesn't stop us from feeding our pride. We continue to do everything we can within our power to puff ourselves right back up. In ancient Siam, there was no more beloved animal than the white elephant. White elephants were very rare, and wherever they were found, they were honored, revered, and even worshipped. But to own a white elephant was a very difficult thing because, not like other elephants, you couldn't work a white elephant. You couldn't use it in any agricultural or industrial venture. You couldn't profit from it. But you had to care for it and feed it. And elephants eat an awful lot. They're very expensive. And the king of Siam found that if he wanted to hurt one of his political opponents, all he had to do was give that person a white elephant, because that would be an honor that would be nearly impossible to refuse and nearly as impossible to afford. And the king would be successful in bankrupting his opponents. Well, we're the opponents and the enemies of Satan. And Satan loves to give to us, to gift to us, white elephants, things that we can't work or profit from, and which are consuming and which cost us so very much and eventually will bankrupt us. And I don't think there's any bigger or hungrier white elephant than pride. Satan has been very successful in getting us to spend all our time, energies, talents, and resources in keeping ourselves puffed up. And it gets us absolutely nowhere. We don't get anything from it. And we become bankrupted by it, spiritually and in many other ways. Well, the remedy for this, the solution to all this, of course, is humility. It is not having a reverence for ourselves, but rather a reverence for God, who's alone worthy of our worship. Just want to read to you a few words from the book of James, James chapter 4, in which James is encouraging the reader, the listener, to flip this around. And instead of trying to get God to be in orbit around our lives, for us to put our lives in orbit around him and his will. Listen to this beginning in verse 6. But he gives more grace. Therefore it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Be wretched, and mourn, and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning, and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. That's the way it's got to be. I think if you want to find lift in your life, you're going to have to bow before the Lord. We've got to return these elephants. They're so worthless and pointless. These things that we've been investing and spending our lives trying to bring happiness out of that don't. And so I encourage you today to take the words of James, take the encouragement of your shepherd, the good Lord, and to, instead of asking the Lord to bless us, to bless the Lord with our time, talents, energies, and efforts. Love you today. We're continuing to pray to this end. And I strongly encourage you, while we're apart, to continue to ask the Lord himself to shepherd you in every single way, and for him to be sufficient in all things for you in your life. Again, God bless you. We love you, and have a great night.